Imagine meeting someone who was obsessed with sex. That is all they think about and expect you to think the same thing. Thinking that sex can make your relationship closer could actually make it fall apart. A recent study last updated on November 14th, 2014, on Alfred Kinsey biography. In 1938, he launched a sex studies program. In 1947, he incorporated under the name the Institute of Sex Research. Alfred Kinsey wrote Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, which was based on research he and his colleagues conducted at the Institute for Sex Research. My 3 points include Alfred Kinsey's early life, sexual behavior studies, and his death. According to Alfred Kinsey biography, last updated on November 14th, 2014, Alfred Kinsey was born on June 23rd, 1894, in Hoboken, New Jersey. His father was an engineering professor at Stevens Institute of Technology. He was the oldest of 3 children in a devout Methodist family. Alfred's mother described her firstborn son as shy and soft-spoken. In 1912, Kinsey graduated as valedictorian in his high school class. He worked to fund his undergraduate education while attending Bowdoin College, where he graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor in science and psychology in 1916. In 1920, Kinsey received a doctorate degree in biology from Harvard University. He met his future wife, Clara McMillan, at a zoology department picnic in the same year. Alfred Kinsey was born the oldest of 3 children and married and had 4 children of his own, but lost 1 child due to illness. As he grew older, he became interested in human sexual behavior. According to Alfred Kinsey was a pervert and sex criminal, published on August 25th, 2014. He is known as the father of the sexual revolution. According to Alfred Kinsey biography, last updated on November 14th, 2014, in 1930, Kinsey agreed to teach a marriage course. When his students started asking him questions about sex, he realized there was very little scientific data on the matter. He decided to apply the principles of scientific research towards the topic of sexual behavior. According to Alfred Kinsey biography, in 1948, he published his first book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. He based the book on more than 10,000 interviews during which men and women of all ages provided candid answers to personal questions about their sexual feelings and behaviors. He came out with a sequel called Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, but it didn't sell as well as the first book. According to Alfred Kinsey biography, because Kinsey's result dealt openly with human sexuality during a time when the topic was taboo, his work was the subject of much controversy. Alfred Kinsey was considered the father of the sexual revolution. He set the stage for the social and cultural upheaval of the 60s, 70s, and 80s with his 1948 book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. He died in 1956. On August 25th, 1956, Alfred Kinsey died at Bloomington Hospital in Bloomington, Indiana. During the last 6 months of his life, his health steadily declined as he gradually developed congestive heart failure. According to the article Alfred C. Kinsey, a pioneer of sex research, his formative years were spent in a home, and in a nation where many middle-class parents treated sex and shame, heaping more than enough guilt on the young people to mangle and twist them. Kinsey's health deteriorated under the strain of public attack and uncertainty about the future of his institute. According to Alfred Kinsey biography, a few days before his death, he had bruised his leg after tripping in his garden, and the bruise had developed into a deadly embolism. Kinsey was 62 years old at the time of his passing. He was survived by his wife, Clara, and their 3 children. Today we have discussed the impact Alfred Kinsey had on sexual behavior. First, we learned that he was the oldest of 3 children, married and had 4 children of his own, and then became interested in human sexual behavior. Next, we discussed the fact that Kinsey was considered the father of the sexual revolution. We also learned that his students started asking questions about sex, and there was very little information available. Finally, we discussed the death of Alfred Kinsey at Bloomington, Indiana Hospital in 1956. If Alfred Kinsey had not done the research he did and become the father of the sexual revolution, we may not have had the social and cultural upheaval that occurred in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The sexual revolution, if you want to call it that,